Hakuho listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X and Instagram at Let's Learn Sumo. Also, this podcast is restreamed on YouTube at Let's Learn Sumo. Let's get on. Former Yokozuna Hakuho held a press conference yesterday to announce his formal resignation from the Japan Sumo Association, the JSA, and to clarify his plans going forward. And he didn't exactly miss the JSA. So to catch you up, Hakuho, the most winningest, longest-serving Yokozuna of all time, retired from active sumo in 2021, having won 45 Yusho championships since 2006. It was an incredible record of dominance. He's moved then into the JSA as one of the Oyakata elders and eventually took over as the Oyakata or stable head for Miyagino stable. And he took on the Oyakata name of Miyagino. His charges included Hakuho, who Hakuho recruited. They also included current wrestler Enho, who is working his way back up the Banzuke after a serious neck injury. He's currently in Makushita. Unfortunately, Hakuho also recruited a Mongolian lad called Hokuseiho, who was forced to retire from sumo in February 2024 after he was found to have bullied and assaulted his fellow stablemates, including with bug spray as a flamethrower, using weapons, and even stealing from their wallets as the allegations against him. This then forced the JSA to temporarily close the stable and transfer all of the Rikshi to another stable, and including the Oyakata Miyagino, who was then demoted to the lowest rank of sumo elder. Now, all of those wrestlers were integrated into Isegahama stable under the famously strict Isegahama Oyakata. Now, this is Terunofuji's old stable. Hakuho and his charges then suffered under this setup as best they could and integrated into the Isegahama stable over the previous year. Now, in March, Hakuho says at the press conference he was advised that there was no definitive plan to reopen the Miyagino stable, and that due to the retirement of Isegahama Oyakata, his Miyagino wrestlers may be forced to move to another stable. Now, Isegahama was reached the compulsory retirement age of 65, and his junior Yokozuna, which Hakuho went to pains to point out at the press conference, Terunofuji, was taking over the stable. Now, Hakuho tried to work on moving his wrestlers to the new stable, but there were concerns over the capacity at that stable, and Hakuho expressed some reservations about the lack of plan for him and his wrestlers. Now, the JSA recently, in announcing Hakuho's retirement, indicated that they had offered to reassess the issue and perhaps reinstate Miyagino stable after the Kyushu tournament in November. Hakuho was at pains to contradict this at the press conference yesterday and indicated that he'd been made no such offer in March, and that's when he made his decision to resign. In the meantime, Terunofuji was to take over Isegahama. Isegahama Oyakata was then strangely given the Miyagino name to be held in stasis. His former wrestlers are still in a dicey position with a position of moving to new stables, and Hakuho's insistence was that they have some choice and control over their destinies. It's the board's intent, however, to not give them that much control, and the fact that 9 of his 20 former wrestlers have now retired in the past year shows that the board is more interested in saving their own face than caring about the innocent parties in this matter. Apparently, it's the sooner they are gone and out of mind, apparently. In those conversations with the board as well, Hakuho expressed some disappointment at the planned schedule, which unfortunately translated into Hakuho not being engaged in the process. This was likely fairly unfair on Hakuho, and the board used it as one of their justifications to not give him the stable. Hakuho himself indicated that that was correct, that once he'd been told he wasn't getting his stable back, that he was less interested in being part of the formal organisation. The board, for their part, released their own version of events and blamed Hakuho for being impatient and not totally submitting to their process. It's clear that the JSA, whether by design or simply by overcaution, forced Hakuho into making the decision to resign. What is clear that despite approaches from other oyakatas, including many approaches from Isagahama, Hakuho made the decision to resign shortly afterwards, and his mind would no longer be changed. He had had enough of the JSA and their petty politics. Perhaps the stress of managing a stable had come to bear in his decision as well, and there's obviously bad feeling between Hakuho and the JSA. Hakuho indicated that he feels he could be better involved in sumo from outside the formal organisation, in such things as the Hakuho Junior Cup and a further association with amateur sumo groups around the world. Look, to me this is exciting as the Yokozuna has a brand name. He has long experience at running some 15 Hakuho Junior Cups, and he wants to make World Amateur Sumo competition a reality. He has supporters, assistants who helped him over the years. He's got experience at gaining sponsors, running competitions and handling participants. He's indicated that broadcast sponsors, web distribution and a worldwide distribution is all on the table, and that includes a possible deal with mega Japanese company Toyota as a personal sponsor and a possible sponsor of this new organisation. If I was the JSA, I'd be a little bit concerned about the power that Hakuho now holds outside the organisation. Hakuho was specifically asked, does he have any regrets? Hakuho said, I have absolutely no regrets. He did, however, say that his own personal feelings for the wrestlers that he left behind, he had some concern for them and he had regrets about making the decision to leave them. So thus finishes the Hokuseiho scandal and the downfall in the organisation of the greatest Yokozuna to ever serve the sport. Is Hakuho to blame? Partially, yes, for failing to control his charge and allowing Hokuseiho too much freedom. Is the JSA to blame? Of course. Their dogged persistence in making Hakuho the bad guy. It's clear that Hakaku, the president of the JSA, personally dislikes Hakuho. To understand the JSA's failings, one might only look at their failed governance in the Gyoji donation theft scandal of this week, where one of their senior referees is accused of stealing many hundreds of thousands of dollars over a long period of years that were donations. It's another scandal that will likely be carpeted over. Again, when Hakaku, the president of the JSA, retires, it will probably be a good thing for the sport. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.